Good evening and a very warm welcome to everybody on this brisk November evening. We hope you are in good spirits and are ready to be transported by the power of technology to the tropics. My name is Phil and I'm going to be your host for this evening, and we also are very honoured to have photographer, dive journalist and all-round good guy Saeed Rashid with us this evening. Good evening, Saeed.
Hello everyone.
Very good. Before we get started, I'll just run through a couple of little things. First of all, if somebody could just pop a message on chat to reassure us that you can actually hear us and we're not talking to ourselves, that would be wonderful. Saeed and I are participants this evening. Everybody else is a attendee, so you can't talk on the evening, but you can write in the chat, as quite a few people are doing now. Thank you very much. And there's also a Q&A. So after the presentation, we will try and answer as many questions as possible. Feel free to fire them in on the chat as we're talking through, and if we can answer them as we go through, we will. Otherwise, we'll try and answer everything at the end. The second thing I need to just mention is that this is being recorded because we've got a few people that aren't able to make it this evening, but they want to listen to the talk. So just to make everybody aware of that. Okay, this evening we're going to be talking about Bali. So Bali is a destination that I think is often overlooked. Obviously, it's a hugely popular tourist island, probably the most famous island in Indonesia, which is a huge archipelago, and maybe because of that people sort of think maybe you need to go to some of the outer islands to get some fantastic diving, but it's really underrated. Bali is an absolutely fantastic dive destination in itself. It's got a wonderful variety of dive sites. It's got super biodiversity. It's fantastic for photographers. It's got a lot of topside highlights as well. So there's lots and lots to love about the island, and that's what we'll be talking about this evening. For me, it's somewhere I've got very fond memories of, because way back when I did my dive master. So it really is the place that turned me into something approaching a proper diver. So you know, real key point in my diving adventure. Saeed, what about you? What's your fondest memory of Bali?
This might not be I should say this, but I've been for more non-diving holidays to Bali than diving holidays.
Have you now?
I have. It's just an amazing place. Myself and my partner Lou have spent really nice Easter holidays there, quite a few of them, just touring around and seeing everything. And probably the best memory is, I've got to say, the food.
Yeah, fabulous food, isn't it?
Yeah, best food.
Yeah.
Fantastic food.
Super, very good. Well, why are we talking about Bali this evening then? We've not just picked a random out the hat. We're talking about it because Saeed is running a small group trip there next June. So we're going to be telling you all about the trip, all about some of the things that you can see on the trip. There's part of the trip that's a diving part and another part that's on land as well. So we'll be telling you all about that. What I'd like to do to get us in the mood and get us started is to show you a video. For the first part of the trip, the diving part of the trip, we're going to be staying in a lovely resort called Alam Batu Resort. And I think it's easy as a tourist to sort of just think of a resort as a business, and you know, just look at the services and so on and so forth. But that's true of larger hotels, of course, and chains, but often these dive resorts like Alam Batu, they're the vision of one or two people, and they're a real labor of love. So the video I'm going to show you is kind of an origin story for the resort itself, and I think really helped to create a lovely connection and set the scene for this evening. So if all goes well, I'm going to share my screen.
Good luck.
Thank you. It's always the bit that goes wrong. Okay, it says I'm screen sharing, so hopefully everybody can see that. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to play this this video for you.
I first came to Bali in 2002 and I completely fell in love with this island. It really felt like home. You have these amazing, beautiful rice fields, big mountains with volcanoes, and the sea is for me very important. The people are so nice and so friendly. The culture, tradition, I really love. I thought that I can also open my own hotel. So I tried to find a land. I was driving around in Bali everywhere and I found this place with these really, really nice rocks and the house reef in front. The only thing was that was a big salt salina. No trees, nothing, only salt. I had to recover the whole land. In this first year, I met my good friend Sri. Together, we managed the whole thing. We did bungalow by bungalow, and we started to build. Alamatu is my own creation and comes from my heart and my brain, but the feeling and the atmosphere is made by all of the staff. Basically, the 50 people work here for 10 years, so we really know each other, yeah, like a big, big family. Alamatu is not only a resort, it's a kind of feeling. A hotel made for divers to relax and make the people happy. I really want to create a special place where all the guests can find a kind of home. They come and not only come for one time, maybe for many, many times.
Okay, so I hope that worked for everybody and everybody could see that. And that does a nice job of transporting you to Bali and getting a real flavour for Alam Batu Resort and where we plan to stay on the trip that we are running with Saeed. Okay, that's probably enough by way of an introduction from me. Saeed, if I hand over to you to tell us all about your experiences of Bali and some of the highlights underwater and on land as well.
Thanks, Phil. Apologies, everyone, because as soon as I've literally come to do a talk, I seem to have a cough. So haven't had a cough all day, and all of a sudden I've got a big cough. So I've got a cough sweep I've just managed to get, and a glass of water here. So apologies. Okay, so let me just share my screen. I've got a little talk here put together, and let's put this in there. You probably can't see me, but hopefully you can just see the screen. So yeah, Phil and I have been working together for a while, running some trips, and we thought we would. I love Indonesia. There's something really special about Indonesia, and I tend to go to slightly more remote islands. But I thought Bali is a real favourite of mine, so let's go there. As Phil already said, it's really diverse and it's a really lovely place to go. So hopefully I've got a few lovely pictures for you and I can talk to you along the way. Let's get settled. Where is Indonesia? So here we have a map of the world. We can see Indonesia. It is a very, very long way away. It generally, I think, how long's the flight, Phil?
Well, you've got what 11 hours to Singapore, then another 4 hours or something like that. It's a long, probably longer than 11 hours to Singapore.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
12 hours. Let's say 16 hours ish to Bali. But it's a nice. We've picked good flights, so that's nothing to worry about. So in Indonesia itself, Indonesia is made up. I didn't know this until I googled it earlier on today. It's made up of 17,500 islands. That's a lot of islands spread over a very vast area. And you can see Bali sits right in the middle of all of them. And Bali is kind of known as the playground. It's kind of where everyone tends to go to, but don't let that put you off. There's still lots of beautiful, beautiful, unspoilt areas there. So here's a basic quick map of Bali. We are spending most of our time up here in the northeast of the island at Uluwatu. That's where we're going to be doing all of our diving. And at the end of the trip, I thought it'd be really, really nice, because I spent a lot of time in Bali, to actually take in some of the land-based stuff. So we're going to go to off the beaten track. We're going to go to a place called Munduk. Most people, when they go to Bali, will go to somewhere like Ubud. Now, Ubud is beautiful, it's lovely, but it gets visited by all the tourist coaches, so it gets absolutely rammed. Munduk is probably what Bali was 30 years ago. It's a beautiful place. I've stayed there a couple of times myself, and I'll show you some pictures of going along. But first of all, let me give you a couple of facts about Bali. So Bali is right in the Coral Triangle. So the Coral Triangle is this area that stretches from Singapore from one end all the way to the Solomons and up to the Philippines, and it contains thousands of species of biodiversity, so fish and coral, and it kind of sits right in front of all of the kind of beautiful pictures that you've ever seen. So Bali is perfectly located for all of that. Bali is a Hindu majority island, which is unusual for Indonesia because it has the highest Muslim population in the world. But with that Hindu population comes all the temples and all the colour and all the vibrancy that Bali is really, really famous for. The people also are amazingly colourful themselves. You also hear it referred to as the Island of the Gods. And that's because it has over 20,000 temples. 20,000 temples. That's an obscene amount of temples in there. But if you're also looking to kind of look after your mind and body, it also has, this is a nice fact, the highest density of spas per kilometre in the entire world. So I hope that everyone comes with me is going to treat themselves to 1, 2 or 10 massages. I know I definitely will be, because they are absolutely awesome and they are incredibly cheap, the massages there. And I think
that's a good fact. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's a great fact. And I think Phil will talk to you at the end. I think that we've got a special deal to do with diving and spa treatments and things, but Phil can talk to you about that at the end. So let's get on. So we're going to Uluwatu Beach Bungalow Resort, which I said is in the northeast of the island. Just on, you can't see my mouse, can't see where I'm pointing, can you? So that's a very, very famous piece of coast. So let's have a quick look at the resort. We saw that little video there. It's a family resort. It's not some big, horrible corporate conglomerate. It's a lovely little family resort. I haven't been myself, but I know lots of people that have done and really, really rave about it. So I was dying to go myself. The resort just looks absolutely beautiful. You can see, if you just Google the resort, you'll see lots and lots of pictures on it that look absolutely gorgeous. All of the areas seem to be really, really well thought out. So lots of areas for us to meet and to talk and to go over the diving that we're going to be doing, both inside and that's outside there. Now, I hope you got some early risers here, because being on the East Coast, it's great for sunrises, but sadly not for sunsets. So hopefully we'll be out there for sunrise a few times in the week at least. The resort itself, obviously being a dive resort, you can imagine it sits right on the coast. A lot of the diving along here is shore diving, so you can just walk in off the beach and you're easily down to 20 meters very, very quickly. But don't worry about that, because there are boats, and you can go out on the boats as well. We will be going out to the boats to some of the more famous sites, and I've got some pictures to show you along with those. From what I've seen, it's got a really, really well-equipped dive centre as well to keep all your stuff there. And if anyone is not been diving in Asia before, the dive guides and the resort workers do literally everything for you. you know, you can always ask them to take a step back, but they'll be literally putting your wetsuits on for you. They're so unbelievably helpful. So they're always great staff. So what's the diving like? Because that's what we're here. We want to go diving. So the reefs are really vibrant. Imagine them being in the coral triangle. They would be lots and lots of hard and very, very brightly coloured soft corals. So you can see this kind of, this is just a shot that the centre sent me. This is literally just off the beach from them. And you get all of those things on the left-hand side here, that those red kind of whips, that's a gorgonia, you know, like the big fan corals, same species there. And then on the right-hand side, we've got some beautiful sponges as well. We also have some of the big barrel sponges. I think I've got some pictures for you as well with those. But as you can imagine, we've already said, the biodiversity is incredibly rich. Everywhere you look, you'll find new critters and new things. So the guides are incredibly knowledgeable of where things live. There's a few people on this talk that have been away with me to places like Lembe, and there's lots of similarities with Lembe, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go along. Although the water is genuinely a lot better, not better, clearer, a lot clearer. You can see it's a lot bluer as well. I love these crinoids. Crinoids are one of my all-time favourites. They come in the most amazing colours. Now, if any of you have ever seen a crinoid swim, incredible. If you haven't, after this, go onto YouTube and just type in crinoid swimming. The most amazing thing. It's worth always looking out in the blue, because there are things that go past, and they're sometimes very big things. So eagle rays apparently are very common there. We are not in the season for mola, and we're not really in the right place for mola, but you never ever know. They could be there. It's not unusual to have them sighted. Up in that part of the coast, one of the kind of slightly more famous things up there is a wreck, and it's called the Liberty Wreck. It was, I need to get my history right here. It was a Second World War wreck. Now it's almost been sunk twice, because it sunk once and then the volcano went off and buried it again. So with all of that trauma, you can imagine there's not much of the wreck left. Here you see the stern with where the rudder would be, or there's a rudder in front of you there. So that's a very recognizable part of it, but there's not that much of the physical wreck left. So don't go wanting to see this wreck and seeing a full intact thing that you can penetrate. It's not really that wreck. But what it is, as you can imagine, is this massive structure in the shallows of the sea that have attracted the most amazing fish life. As you can see, there's another gorgonia down there. There's probably someone looking for a pygmy seahorse, Badgerbanty. They are on these fans on the wreck, so they are seen there, and not very deep depths. And quite often there's no current here, so the photographers among you will be very pleased, because you'll probably be able to get a really decent shot of them. And probably this shot kind of shouts out what that wreck is like now. You can see there a few struts of the wreck, but generally it's just an area for coral and fish life to live on. But it's an amazingly beautiful wreck. It is a popular wreck. There isn't, in my opinion, there isn't a good time to dive it. Lots of people say, let's go in as soon as the sun's coming up. Some people even go in before the sun's coming up. Famously, there's a big school of bumphead parrotfish that live inside the wreck and that come out at sunrise. But I've personally never been lucky enough to have them all to myself. There's always been a few people down there, but it's worthwhile seeing. If you haven't seen them, they're huge, huge fish. Let's move on. There are other must-see inhabitants. Things like, we've got a painted frogfish here. They inhabit all the areas along there. Well worth seeing. In fact, I think last time I was there, I saw about 7 or 8 species of frogfish. And of course, the world famous, the people that that have been with me to Lembe. We've never managed to see one of these, but Rhinopia in all the colours are, I wouldn't say prolific, but they are in much bigger numbers than they are in some of the other hotspots. They haven't been scared off by anybody, and much, much shallower. So I never promise to see something, but I would say it's kind of 85% sure we're going to see some Rhinopia down there. And then all the usual fish from Asia. So here we've got ribbon eel, kind of baring his teeth out at you. They're just there, and they're kind of tasting the water with their kind of sense organs at the top there. And then, of course, you know, for all of our nudibranch lovers, it is awash with nudibranchs. So we've got this guy here. Love these. I never ever remember the names of nudibranchs, so I'll go past these. When people say to me, "What nudibranch's that?" I'll just say the orange and green one. It's just how I tend to live and how I tend to work. But yeah, hundreds of nudibranchs. So many, you'll probably fill up your spotting guide with all the nudibranchs that you'd ever want to see. And they're quite easy to spot there. And probably one of the reasons why they're quite easy to spot is most of the sand, a bit like, and I keep referring back to Lembe because this is where I've been quite a lot recently. The sand is volcanic, so the sand is black. So these very colourful nudibranchs tend to stand out very clearly on that sand. And here we have obviously another must-see creature. So we've got a harlequin shrimp sitting on a starfish here. I never believed how quickly that they ate these huge starfish, but they go through and actually cut off each arm, drag an arm away, and then feed on that. And these tiny little shrimp are doing that. I've been places for a long period of time and seen them how quickly they go through a starfish. So it's quite scary, really. And there's obviously other lovely, famous reef inhabitants. So we've got anemone fish, all kinds of anemone fish down there. So all of us photographers, we've really got a delight there to kind of keep us happy. And of course, our little moray eels there. This is one being cleaned by a blue stripe cleaner, sticking out of I think it was I can't remember which coral. This might have been a different kind of brain coral, sticking out with the cleaner wrasse coming over him, giving him his little bit of spa treatment. So not only are there spa treatments on land, it seems there's spa treatments underwater as well. And of course, mentioned before, yes, there are pygmy seahorses there. There's the three main types I want to talk about. So this is Badgerbante, Hippocampus badgerbante, there's Denise, and there's also Pontoi, the really, really tiny ones that photographers swear at quite a lot because they're just like a tiny little bit of seaweed that just moves back and forth, so you can never get them in focus. And of course, there are other kinds of seahorses. So we've got this guy here on the right-hand side, a spiny seahorse as well. And their kind of cousin here, the pipefish on the left-hand side. We've got all kinds of pipefish there. So your delights are going to be there. We've got this guy here. And we've got this guy here. So we've got all different kinds of pipefish to keep you happy. In fact, I think last time I was there, that the guides kind of stopped pointing out pipefish because I was spotting them all myself. And those that have ever gone diving and tried to spot pipefish, you realise how difficult it is because they're so well camouflaged. I'll go back to this guy on the left-hand side. When they're sitting in the crinoid, they're really hard to see. But I was even able to spot them myself, so I was quite pleased with myself. And then coming to probably my favourite fish, and this is a cardinal fish. The species of cardinal fish has completely gone out of my head. And I love it because my very first diving trip to Bali, I took this shot. And this is before the word viral was a thing. This is one of my pictures that went viral and it got shared literally millions of times. So you may have seen it everywhere. It even turned into some strange meme. Now I looked for some of the memes, but I couldn't find them anymore. That was a long time ago. So they've all kind of disappeared. But I've got very fond memories of sitting over the top of the reef, just up from the wreck actually, sitting these guys are all lined up perfectly in line in a little bit of current and just photographing them and just waiting for this guy to open his mouth. So I've got very, very fond memories. My partner, not so much. So she had only learned to dive, I think, the year before. And so she was swimming out. By the way, she's an excellent diver and got excellent buoyancy. But if anyone's dived with me before, they realise as a photographer, I sometimes sit in one spot for a long, long time. So sitting there for these guys for about half an hour, waiting for someone to open their mouth, something to happen, while she's just swimming round and round and round and round and round. And when I came up, I had she's very nice, but she's just said to me that after this holiday, she never wants to come diving with me again, although she has. So that's the diving part, to show you that. But where do I come in? So as Phil said, I'm a photographer, a journalist, and I'm a full-time lecturer at Bournemouth University. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be giving you talks most days, looking through your photos for the photographers that are there and trying to help you improve your pictures and maybe helping you with a little bit. I'm no marine biologist, but I start to know a little bit about the marine life that's going on and help to try and guide you through and help you find things that you want to see. But most of my help will really be around the photography, trying to get you to take slightly better pictures than you already are now, to maybe envision nicer compositions, or kind of work with the fish. And you do have to work with the fish. I tend to sing to them to try and calm them down, and laugh if you like, but it does work. But yeah, I'll be giving daily talks and I'll be doing daily reviews, and I'll just be generally on hand to try and make the experience a much, much nicer one for you.
Saeed, is it possible that cardinal fish is actually singing back to you? Is that what is really going on in that photo?
Quite a lot of the memes were there were kind of songs put over the picture. It was quite funny. I think it went out. I think Paddy TV or Paddy shared it, and then it just went bonkers. It went absolutely crazy. But yeah, Lou keeps saying that that's my partner, is Lou. That fish is basically telling me to go away in not so nicer terms. But I'm going to say it's singing back to me, of course. What do you think it's singing?
I don't know. I mean, it does look. I'd probably go for a rock song, I think.
What about some Queen?
Yeah, something like that, I think. Yeah.
Excellent. So that's kind of, I just want to give you a taste of that. I know if I flick through that very quickly. So that's kind of the diving, and that's why we're here. But I thought it was going to be really nice, because I said before, I know Bali really well. To at the end of the diving is to go inland and go to this lovely place called Munduk. So we're going to be going to Munduk Sari Resort. As you can see with the arrow, it's some distance away, so it's a few hours car drive away, but we'll probably stop off at some of the volcanoes on the way and have a look at those. All the scenery in Bali is absolutely beautiful. So it sometimes takes a while to get to places because you're always going around the volcanoes. But I never mind those longer drives because the scenery is so pretty. So the resort is a beautiful resort. It's, again, not one I've been to, but I said I know the area really well. And I picked this area because there's several things that we can do there. So let's just have a quick look at the resort first off. As you can see, the resort, as with all of them in this area, are kind of nestled in amongst all the trees. So you do get wildlife coming to see you. You will get monkeys coming through, and you'll get lots of other wildlife. So you can sit in that pool and kind of wildlife spot if you wanted to. So you're more than welcome to do that. And you can see all the rest of the spaces are all nicely nice and open. Oh, what's that? Oh, this is all the things that we can do. So there's in walking distance, there's incredible waterfalls we can go to, and you'll see some of those pictures in a minute. There's also the amazing water temple. Again, you'll see some more pictures of these. We can easily get trips to go there. If you're into it, we've got jungle and volcano trekking can be organised. Any adventurous people here? I haven't done it, but there is white water rafting in the area, believe it or not. And probably the star is the UNESCO rice terraces, so World Heritage rice terraces. And I've got some pictures to show you that in a second. Now, oh yeah, here's a little video. So this is a part of a holiday video that when I went in 2019, I think it was, for a non-diving holiday. We just went there, and this is the last time I went to this area. There we go. Sorry, it's just a short video, it's just a short snippet, but that kind of gives you an idea of what's in the north. Sorry, what's inside the island when we go to Munduk. So these waterfalls. When we picked this resort, sadly the resort that I stayed in before was full, so we couldn't go there. But we picked this one, it's just down the road, so we can walk to all of these areas. So they're absolutely gorgeous, and it will be warm. But the beauty about Munduk, because it's much higher. It's a really nice temperate temperature. In fact, and please don't let this put you off, I don't think the resort has air conditioning. I don't think any of them have air conditioning up there. Do you know, Phil? Phil's gone.
No, sorry, just getting my mute button sorted. No, they don't need them because they're sort of halfway up the mountainside, so they've got that cooling breeze. So that's par for the course for that area. When you're at sea level, then of course it's very welcome, but when you're in the highlands, they don't have it because it's not really needed.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. The first time we went there, we were really unsure about it, saying, "Oh, no, this doesn't have air conditioning." But we went up, and it was a really nice temperature. After spending, a week or so on the coast and getting really warm, it's a really nice, pleasurable thing to be up in the mountains here. And it is a really nice, and again, it's a really nice photogenic area to go. So when you come, make sure you bring not only your underwater cameras, but bring your land cameras as well, because there's going to be some great opportunities for those pictures. This is a picture that's up on our wall, so that's a good memory that we have. But the rice fields, as I said, if anyone's got a drone, bring your drone, because drones are absolutely fine to fly here, and there's some great drone photography to be had in amongst all of these rice fields. So I think most of these pictures, so this one here and this one, they're both drone pictures that I used. So I used the drone for. And of course, you get a nice perspective of what's going on by able to fly that drone. So each one of those little huts is a different farmer that looks after his individual kind of set of rice fields. So that's kind of one farmer's kind of area. And you saw in the video, that they have the oxen as well that they use. So there's no mechanical or petrol-driven machinery here. It's all animals farming the fields. And I said, you will see the farmers, and they're very friendly. Everybody in Bali is crazy friendly, but you'll happily go and talk to them. In fact, they'll probably stop you and kind of talk to you more than anything else. And there's you can see the picture here of Lou on the left. There's these little irrigation ditches all the way around, and you will want to stop and kind of put your feet down in there because they're nice and cool to kind of cool off a little bit. Yeah, you can see them all still working in the fields. This area as well, if you have a look at an area of Bali, you'll see there's some huge lakes as well. So we're very close to some of those lakes. Those lakes are a lovely place to go to. They also have some amazing water temples. If you type in Bali temple, you'll see lots and lots of pictures of this particular temple. I forgot the name of it, it's completely gone out of my head. But this is a great place to stop off. We'll generally probably stop off here on the way to the rice terraces. So we'll have an hour or so here to wander around. And if we do it early in the morning, it won't be that busy because it's quite far up north. Most people are staying in the south or maybe down towards Ubud. They'll have to get the coach up. It will take them a good 3 hours to come up. So we'll easily get there before them. There's other water temples around Bali as well. So some of them have water blessing areas. If you'd like to get in there, you can get into the water and be blessed. I think the way they do it, and someone here might know better than I do, is you start on the left and you go through and you say a prayer at every single water fountain as you go through. So you'll see people going through the entire temple here, being blessed at every single water fountain. They're absolutely beautiful places and quite ancient as well. But as I said, Bali is absolutely rammed full of temples. Down every street you go to, there'll be amazing architecture and amazing temples. And this is why I'm putting these extra few days in, so we can take in some of this. In fact, there's so much colour in Bali that it's almost seems like you're in an Instagram story all the time. It's a really, really beautiful place. I can't keep saying how beautiful it is if you haven't been. And I kind of said at the beginning, one of the things that I absolutely adore about Indonesia as a whole is the food. The food is just vast and amazing. And I'll often, if we're doing trips out, I'll often ask the drivers just to stop for street food. Because for me, that's the best way you can kind of taste the culture and taste what's going on. The resort has amazing food, as I've heard and I've seen as well. But finding the food that everyday people eat is something quite special. So yeah, the food, this is not all Bali pictures, but this is just generally Indonesia pictures. Food for me is a really, really important thing, also beer. But being able to taste and what the locals have, I think is a really, really nice thing. So you can see, yeah, I'm kind of have lots and lots of food pictures. In fact, my phone was full of food pictures. Anyway, I think I've wrapped it on quite a lot here. So to end of it, of course, there's a beer. So cheers, everyone. Thank you very much for that. If they've got any questions, I think Phil's going to say a couple of words first, and I think we've got a Q&A at the end. So sorry for rabbiting on and taking all your time there, but hopefully I can finish that and I can stop sharing. And back to you, Phil.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Saeed. There were some wonderful pictures there, and I think lovely insights into the island, and not only its diving, but its culture as well, and landscapes. Apologies to those that heard my typing when I forgot to put myself on mute, and thank you very much for pointing that out. Right, so that hopefully gives you a flavour of Bali as a whole and the places that we're going to be visiting. What I just wanted to do before we go to any questions that people might have is just to give you some more details about the actual trip. So if I endeavour to share my screen again. Okay, let's get rid of that bit. Then Saeed, I've stolen your photo here.
Oh,
It's such a good one. I couldn't resist. So the trip's called Bali Photo Safari Reef and Rice Fields. We've deliberately tried to set this up so it's a very relaxed and accessible trip. So obviously Saeed's a fantastic photographer and is very keen to impart his knowledge for eager photographers, but it's a very laid-back trip, so non-photographers will find ample of interest there. If there are non-diving partners as well, then there's lots for them in there. So it's intended to be a trip that's for everybody. And we've tried as well we know there's a cost of living crisis going on, so we've tried to give you an awful lot of bang for your buck in the trip as well, and packed an awful lot into it. So for anyone looking to join Saeed, the trip departs on the 23rd of June next year. It's 13 days long, UK to UK. That includes flights, and it's from 3,095 per person, based on 2 people sharing. For those that don't have somebody to share with, then, well, the single supplement's actually very reasonable. It's only £395 for the entire trip, which is great. People wanting to arrange their own flights, they're welcome to do so. Flights are based with Emirates from London Heathrow, but equally, you know, there are plenty of options to Bali, so you can go from Manchester if that suits, or probably even Birmingham as well. For those looking to upgrade, then there is limited higher accommodation. They've got a couple of villas at Alambatu Resort, and they've got some sort of top of their top cottages at Munduksari, which that's only another £300. So that option is there depending on availability. So in terms of the trip, we've got 7 nights at Alambatu Resort. So you leave on the 23rd of June, 24th you arrive in Bali. You'll be picked up from the resort, transferred to Alambatu. You've got a full board meal plan at Alambatu, and you've got up to 24 dives. So you've got shore diving. The house reef has about 800 meters that you can explore. It's quite extensive, but as Saeed mentioned, there's lots and lots of dive sites there. They do multiple boat trips a day. I think at least 6 boat trips a day, with a dive site's only 5 to 20 minutes away. So there's loads and loads of opportunity to fit in boat diving there. For those that don't want to do that many dives, or maybe we have some non-divers there as well, where you can switch any or all of those dives for a spa treatment, or even a few land tours as well. So if maybe you've done a couple of dives one day and you fancy ducking out in the afternoon, go and have one of those spas instead that Bali is so famous for.
Can I jump in, Phil?
Absolutely.
I thought this was a really, when we talked to the managers there, Phil and I talked to them on a Zoom call, they said this system they offer, if you don't do a dive, have a spa treatment instead. And I thought it was a really, really lovely way of running resort. And it shows that it's a family thing. That
it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, so sometimes for no fault of your own, or you just don't want to do an early dive, or you don't want to do that many dives in a day, just say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go for a massage instead, and use that credit for a spa treatment.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea. I love it as well.
We need more resorts doing the same.
Absolutely, yeah. Although I'm sure Alambatu are very happy that they only offer it at the moment. So you also get you get Saeed, don't you? So you get evening talks from Saeed on the sort of photography opportunities, and also the marine life. It says here you get the services of Saeed as well. I'm not sure what services those are, but Saeed
very special ones.
Special secret ones. Okay, very good. Nitrox is included as well. As I mentioned, for non-divers, there's spa treatments and land tours, so you're not simply sitting at the resort. You've got all the transfers as well. That includes the transfer over to Munduk, where we've got 3 nights on a bed and breakfast basis in Munduksari Resort in their superior rooms. We've deliberately left that bit open because there's so much to do in front, photography opportunities and nature and so on and so forth. Either a short walk from the resort or directly around it, or a short taxi ride away. So we've left that free, but Saeed will, organise locally for people to go and see the highlights in that area.
I think,
and then of course at the end of the trip you'll be transferred back.
Sorry, Phil, I'm jumping in again. I thought what we talked about, I think would be a nice thing is we'll find the people that are going and why we're in while we're doing the diving, would kind of talk about what people would like to see and what they want to do, and then kind of make the arrangements with the hotel when we're in Munduk, because nothing is very far away, really nothing. The only thing is it Uluwatu, which is quite
that's one of the
that's
temples,
really
yeah.
down south, so we can't
Yeah.
get to that part. That'll be like 6 hours away. That's the only thing that's kind of too far away to get to. But the rest of it, all in the highlands, is all very doable. But we'll kind of make our plan, and it's not expensive. I know some people think there's hidden charges here of really expensive tours and trips. They're not expensive. They're a matter of a few pounds. They really are.
Yeah, it's a very, very good value place. So that's the trip. People are welcome to extend beyond that if they want, of course, as well, or travel out early. You know, we're happy to talk to you about those kind of aspects, and we'd love to welcome as many of you on the trip as possible. So hopefully that gives you a really good flavour for the island, for what Saeed's planning for this trip, and also about the trip itself. Now, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, if I can get organised, please do pop them on the chat or on the Q&A session, and we will answer as many of those as possible. What I'm just going to attempt to do first is get out of my share. There we go. Okay, and I can see.
I noticed that was one of my pictures as well.
Well, I mean, it's about you, Saeed. So, you know, your pictures are so much better than mine. It would be a shame not to give them the exposure that they truly deserve.
You need to come on one of my photography workshops.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I would love to. We'd do that black water one. That's what I'd like to do.
If I'm going to get the I don't think there is blackwater diving here.
No, not here. No, sorry, I didn't mean to confuse matters.
No. Yes. I did ask the question, but they never came back to me. So I don't think there is blackwater diving here.
No,
I think
I've
actually
not heard of it.
It's too much in the strait. I think there's too much for current.
Yeah. You'd end up not in Bali anymore, probably.
Yeah, over to the Gillies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a few questions coming in. So first one, what is the price reduction for own flights? So how, if you wanted to do your own flights, I predicted somebody would ask that, so I wrote it down beforehand. I'd say it would be 2,095 would be your per person price if you you wanted to just arrange your own flights. And we just need to make sure that the flight arrival and departure times are broadly in line with the flights for everybody else, so we can coordinate transfers, but that's relatively easy to do. Can you hire an underwater camera? Well, the reason we've picked this resort is because it is probably most well known as the best resort in Bali for underwater photographers. It's got fantastic facilities for cameras. They had a big group last year, I think, of 30 or 40 budding photographers from backscatter in the US. So they're very, very well set up for photography. As to whether they've got any kits to hire, I'm not quite sure, but we'll be very happy to ask the question for you. I'll put you in touch with them directly so that you can have that conversation.
I think I want to say yes, they do. I think they've got Olympus TG6s.
Okay. Oh, they're good little cameras.
Yeah, really good.
Ones.
There's a couple of people on this talk now that have been way before with me that have TG6. So they're a lovely, lovely camera.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay, good. But we can double check that for you. How many people in the group? Well, that depends how many people book. I mean, it's designed to be a small group trip. So I think, did we set the limit at about 16, Saeed? I think it was somewhere around that was the maximum group. So it's intended to be a small group, intimate. If we have 30 people on the trip, then it doesn't work in quite the same way. Because, so it's spread too thin.
Yeah, I think we said 14 in my head for some reason.
Could be. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice small group.
It won't be more than 16.
No, definitely not. No. Do we have any other questions?
I probably rabbited through my bit a bit too quick because I hadn't practiced it.
That sounded very, very good to me.
Thank you very much. I was saying to Phil that I had something like 100 and something slides, and I just mass deleted some because I had way too many, and then I thought I didn't have enough, so I put loads back in. So I had a mad panic about an hour before the talk.
I think it came out very well. I hope that everybody found that valuable. I certainly found it very, very insightful. We will follow up with everybody that is on the talk this evening, and we'll send you more details of the trip and a little incentive. So thank you very, very much for joining. If you have any questions that come after the talk that you wish you'd asked but didn't quite come to mind at the time, then by all means drop us a line to the main email address or to mine. I'm philn@diveworldwide.com, and we will be only too happy to answer them.
I'm just going to, sorry, Phil, I'm just going to drop my email address into the chat in case anybody wants to message me. So just keep talking amongst yourselves, everybody. There's my email address if anybody wants to just get in contact with me directly, or find me on all the social medias. I'm on all of them, every single one.
Very good. Thank you, Saeed, for your time and expertise this evening. That was absolutely wonderful to have you. For all those listening, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it took you away from your cold and rather dreary November evening and transported you to somewhere altogether more colourful and more vibrant.
Oh, and it's Bake Off final in 7 minutes.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Go well, Team Josh. Yay, Team Josh.
we better wrap up then, haven't we? Thank you so much, everybody, for your time this evening. I really hope you enjoyed that. And please stay tuned. We'll be doing some more Zoom presentations after Christmas. So please stay tuned for those. And thank you again to Saeed for your time this evening. That was fantastic.
You're right. Oh, I can't even speak now. It was a pleasure.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.